Call to order the Town of New Shoreham Coastal Resilience Committee meeting on February 3rd at 3:00 p.m. So the first agenda item, Nigel, Lisa. First agenda item is public input. Does anyone have any input? Okay. We'll move on to approval of minutes from the January 6th Coastal Resilience Committee meeting, which were shared via email just a couple days after last. Yep.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, so all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye, all right. The motion passes and the minutes are approved. All right, so moving on to town and council updates. Update from town council. I think the only thing I'm aware of is that a couple members of the town council participated in the January 21st visit by GZA to the island and to see the beach pavilion. So I think both Keith Stover and Billy McComb were part of that group. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Is this when you would like me to talk about that visit?
No, share,
Okay.
I guess share the full update when we get to the
Yeah,
working
that's
group.
what I figured, but yeah, but it was great. They stayed with us through the whole visit and just ducked out for lunch. It was
Okay,
great.
Great. And they mentioned it at the following town council.
Excellent.
Allison Ring has raised her hand. And you are, oh. And Allison, you're next for an update if you're
Hi,
there.
everyone. Oh, good timing. Yeah, I was raising my
Okay.
hand just to be unmuted. Okay, but I'm up anyway, so good timing. So as far as updates, I know we've discussed the grant award, NIFWIF. So there was an event held in Johnston that I attended with Senator Whitehouse, Senator Reed, to announce that grant award. And so just want to let you know that was held, and there was a press release on that, and we'll keep you posted on next steps. But that's through Rhode Island DEM, so the town would be a subrecipient of those funds, and that is to continue the work along Corneck Road, other sites. And GZA, I did speak with Mike Gardner yesterday. So the next step on the current project is the beach paths, the access paths are at 60% design. And so we're meeting with CRMC next week regarding permitting, but also wanting to schedule a public input on that, those 60% designs, as well as now that the beach building, all the concepts there, wanting to get public input around those. So looking to schedule a meeting probably end of February, beginning of March, depending on the availability of the town's calendar as well as the consultants. So just wanted to kind of make you aware that that's the next meeting coming up, whether or not, I was thinking we could combine them or at least hold them the same day. But just wanted to see what thoughts you had maybe around that public input opportunity, if you had any dates you want to avoid or anything, any scheduling thoughts.
When you say schedule them the same day, them being the
two, yeah, so like yeah, I mean, they're obviously the same project, but the 60% design
Oh,
of
okay.
the beach paths, and then now that we've kind of amended the scope and are having, we have the architects looking at the beach building, do you want to hold that in the same meeting, the same, get input? You'd probably be similar people, individuals attending both meetings, so would it be okay? We have it, you think having it at the same same session or same day, where they would come out and hold both
Yeah.
public engagement opportunities.
So Allison, this is Judy, and I think that's a great idea. So we don't want to invite them for one month and the other one the next month. And, if we can get them, if we're doing both, maybe we have a better chance of really engaging people.
Okay.
So, I want to make sure that we all also understand that the beach pavilion this is super generic, just idea gathering. It's not a design approval process. It's a way of stimulating conversation. So there are two different levels. One's at 60% design, the paths, and one is at the concept level,
Right.
just so that we know. And
Right.
we
Yeah.
will continue to do public outreach around these through the summer so that we net more people.
Yep.
So just to be clear, the beach paths, it's also the Scotch Beach parking area, right? Or-
Yes.
Okay. I guess my one, I think we should do it. I'm not sure we should do it at our next meeting just because of other agenda items. So I think.
Yeah, we'll have a
it's
special
up to
meeting for
GCA.
this.
Yeah, a special
Yeah,
meeting.
we'll
Yeah.
hold a special meeting. But just, yeah, please let me know if there's any conflicts that you might have end of February, beginning of March, if there's certain time periods to avoid, and we'll try to work around that. But we'll send an email out with possible dates that
Um,
might work.
Sosha was asking a question. Let me.
Allison, will this be a Zoom or in-person meeting?
In person.
Good.
Great. We would just, I guess, if we could set the date sooner rather than later. It doesn't sound like anyone here has any
Yep.
times that don't work, but just so we can get the word out. try to
Yes,
get the
exactly.
meeting
We want to
closer
give
to-
people at least a few weeks. Yeah, we want to give people time to get the word out.
Yeah, a couple weeks, and also pick a day don't pick Tuesday. I mean, pick a day that has a good ferry schedule for getting
Yeah.
to Block Island and back. And yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Tuesdays are fine as long as it's not
Yeah,
3
it's
o'clock
not
in the
like last
afternoon.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll check the ferry schedule. And only other thing, yesterday there was a meeting with Nora and I and Amy Land attended a meeting with Rhode Island DEM representatives, the Chief Resiliency Officer and the Regional Coastal Coordinator. So the exercise really is going through the Municipal Resilience Program. If you recall, it was a number of years ago, but the action, the report that came out of that process, the Resilient Roadie process. So annually we go through that report and kind of give a status update on the actions within that. So that just continues, New Shoreham's eligibility for action grants through the Municipal Resiliency Program, Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. So we're going to work with them to continue that update and identify projects that are priorities within Resilient Roadie, the state's resiliency plan that's in draft form. So Nora and Amy and I are working with Rhode Island DEM on input for that.
Thanks, Allison. I heard a little bit about that meeting also from Nora this morning. Could you just share what the main priorities were? Have those been confirmed for what the
No,
Block Island priorities will be?
Not confirmed, but I mean, we talked about the Corneck Road, obviously continuing that. There's been a lot of grant funding, obviously already, but implementation dollars around all the work that will be completed in planning and engineering. So that was mentioned. And we also talked about New Harbor area. Bridgegate Square came up, stormwater. So a number of key areas came up, and also working with the state, they can help with, they have the technical assistance coordinators now, but helping with some state outreach around certain priorities. But if there's something that Coastal Resiliency Committee would want to, if there's a specific area as far as location on the island you want us to focus it, we also talked about the West Beach, the revetment by the old landfill as a site that needs obviously ongoing maintenance and action there. So that was also on our list. But if there's something, a specific area that you think of, or not even a site specific, but just a general area of technical assistance you think that Rhode Island DEM could assist with, we can also give that kind of input, you know, whether it be regulations or grant writing support or things like that. It's all kind of listed there, but we could certainly give that feedback as that's something in particular that we need as a community.
Yeah, I guess maybe just share with us whatever, I don't know if anyone has any other things they want to flag. If, I'm not sure what the timeline is for this, Allison, to be finalized. It sounded from what Nora said that it's going into the resilient roadie thing, so there's kind of an imminent deadline, but to me it sounds like conversation captured the main priorities, but I'm not sure, having not been part of it.
Yeah, I think
what
this,
exactly was.
yeah, I would say, you know, they wanted the feedback this week. So if there's anything we've missed, you know, certainly, and we can circulate kind of the final language that they're considering including and
Yeah, that would be great.
I have a question
Yep.
for Allison. Allison, I received today the Living Shoreline Planning Series where they're accepting applications for the 2026 I guess training program, and it's all around living shorelines. I didn't read every little detail, but it looks like that there's money available to train people on how to use some of these tools. And since we're advisory, it's like where do we punt this? You know, this is something, anyway, take a look at it, Allison, and if this is something that we should pursue, I'm sure you got it, but I'll forward it to you also.
it came today.
Yeah, I'll forward it right now.
Yeah, I don't think I received it.
Looks like
But
there's
it
gonna,
looked like there was maybe some opportunity there.
Nature Conservancy is part of this.
Yeah, it's the Northeast Regional Ocean Council, and it's being administered by the Nature Conservancy.
Okay.
Looks like there's a informational webinar on February 17th, so.
Yeah, I think the way these work is that the Regional Ocean Council is like a body like this. And I don't know that they have actual execution capabilities, whereas the Nature Conservancy can do that for them. You know, to get the money out the door.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Could I go back just
Yes.
a second to scheduling a meeting for
Yes.
GZA? It
Mhm.
occurred to me as I'm processing this,
Yeah.
tired, that it would be nice if we can avoid meeting when the town council or the Nature Conservancy or zoning or planning board meet, because they should be encouraged to attend that meeting.
Okay.
Yep, we'll do that. We'll check the calendar, the town meeting calendar, because we'll probably be, you know, utilizing the same space for some of those groups anyway. So,
Great.
yep.
Okay, thank you, Allison. Next on the agenda is update from Nora.
Hi, everyone. Sosha, can I hand you this this and ask you to take one? Yes, please.
Is your microphone on, Nora?
It is, yes. Hi, everyone. Allison just updated you guys on the MRP meeting that we had yesterday. And so really my only other update at the moment is wanting to share this. So yeah, if you just hand everyone one, it's all the same. So sure, yeah. So just, yeah. I wanted to kind of give everyone this. What I'm handing out right now is a little guide to look at kind of how to look at my or our work on our current guide, which is the guidebook. Thank you. So can I actually grab? So a kind of mini guide for how to look at the draft of the guide that Sosha Ann and I have been working on, officially titled right now Guide for Protecting Your Block Island Home from Flooding and Erosion. And so I have some physical copies of this right here, you guys, which is the current draft, but I'm also going to send that to you online because there is also an easy way. You are more of a looking at in person. But really kind of the three questions at the top are the three questions at the top are really what I wanted to seek feedback or talk or kind of share, get ideas from you today. So kind of number one, thinking about what topics could be added to the guide. There are a couple open pages and could certainly reorganize information. There's not enough for everyone for those, sorry. Because there's some, great, because Mary's not here.
Mary and
And Sarah's not here, great.
Yeah.
Also thinking about images and graphics, as you can see, this is very much a snapshot of what it looks like currently, but certainly lots to add, but wanted to kind of share the framework of what we've worked on and created so far with you all, with the goal of like hoping that you can, continue to add ideas and kind of think about how we can work on adding more information to this. And so then kind of really the third thing is really the goal of this trying to be accessible, helpful, and actionable if any actions can be taken. So as you can see right now, there are 16 pages total, and I really focus on the framework is really what we've worked on so far is thinking about kind of the introduction and then understanding your hazard areas and risks. So kind of what are those FEMA flood zones, introducing Jean-Louis mapping tool, and then planning and building guidance. So a little bit more about DM and CRMC, and then specifically limiting impervious surfaces, as well as some information about protecting basements and valuables, elevating valuables, and then kind of moving lastly into landscaping and water use for resilience. So managing stormwater, a little bit about buffer zones and landscaping and planting. As you can see, again, there's lots to still fill in there, but that's kind of the general framework of what we were thinking about for this book. And so really just wanted to kind of share that with you. And I will also email you all the PDF version of it so you can kind of look more and certainly email me any feedback. I'm also happy to meet with you guys to talk about this if that's better than email feedback wise. And then really currently kind of at this point, really still seeking feedback and putting additional information. This month, I'm hoping to also share some version of this with the Conservation Commission and also with my coworkers at TNC and the climate people at TNC as well. And so trying to, again, just really pull from all different sides to make this the most productive and helpful and usable document possible. So again, really in draft form right now, but just wanted to give you guys all that as a draft, as kind of what initially what we had been thinking and kind of how to build on that. The last thing that I wanted to mention too is that as we talked about, I've been working on this on Canva and that there is an easy way to kind of make that into a booklet. And so the idea would be that eventually you would fold it in half and it could be oriented as a booklet. That would be 16 pages total. So certainly, again, lots of room for movement and change, but wanted to kind of give you guys an idea of what we had been working on and really open for feedback for ideas, for images, what other additional topics that you might find helpful that you don't see exactly in here. And so just wanted to kind of give you that guide at the moment. And so that's really my only other update other than the MRP meeting. Yes. Oh, sorry.
You're gonna send this copy.
Yes, and I will send everything via email as well, if that works better for everyone.
Maybe a couple things. I'm actually, part of the group that's been working on this, so should have thought of this before, but I'm wondering if we should integrate the water, like the well water issues, septic issues into the,
Yeah, so I was thinking,
yeah.
yeah, and so that's there's an open page at the back that I was thinking would be a good one for that, which I kind of plugged in septic well. It's not in there anymore because I deleted it, but the open page in the back, I think that'd be a good place to.
Okay.
No.
Well, one thing that I want to propose is that we would use some of the $2,000 budget that we have for the year to print these, which means we would need to spend it by the end of June.
So yeah, so June, early summer.
Why, what are you thinking?
Well, my thinking, especially if you were thinking of adding the sort of well stuff is, you know, whether we would have the
Oh.
information that we'd want by then, that's all.
Mhm.
But, you know, we can see.
Yeah,
That might be pushing it, but, yeah, there can always be a second edition or.
and it might be more like, what do you do if you run into issues with existing wells
Mhm.
and septic systems? Because if it's new, right, you're gonna have
I mean,
requirements.
we may know more after we've met with the folks in, then got a week and
Right.
a week.
And just, this is something too that I think once it get input from this committee, Conservation Commission and TNC, that this would then go to the town for, this is what we'd like to do with this. We'd like to put it on the website, the town website. We'd like to print copies and have it available to people, anyone, and get, agreement from the town on that. So that's a step that needs to be factored into our timeline. So I think it would be good to try to have something to present within, we were thinking a month or so.
Yeah.
By the next meeting.
Yeah, so that try basically kind of, that was what me and Ann were talking about today, is the timeline of like collecting this information, making some updates for this over the course of February, and then for the March meeting can present a more formalized, finalized draft, certainly than today. And then maybe from there could take it to town council.
And then I was also thinking we need to ask the town council for approval of how to distribute these. For example, do we want to bring them to all the realtors? Do we want to hand them out as we hand out building permits for people who are just starting a new home? I think that should be a part of the discussion.
Yes. Any other discussion on this? If people have, once you take some more time to go through this, and you have any
Oh, just a
Feedback.
question. Is it going to be in color or black and white?
color.
Oh, good. So
No, I have a question. So it would be more for general public? Is it like,
People with property basically would be
right,
interested in this.
because
yeah.
when we talk about contractor, realtor, maybe they have different needs to know. So, or do you want to try to include everybody and they touch every subject on? What?
I would consider this much more of like a public facing document. So not as, not as detailed as anything
Right.
contractor
Okay.
level. Yeah. More of like a informational document, like even
General-
like, what is, yeah, right. What even is CRMC? What is their regulation? So that kind of more general information.
And also, just there is a topic I feel sensible is all the plastic we use on the island, and you find them everywhere on the beach, the straw, is that a topic we should,
Yeah, it's not really so much of, I feel like it's not really the focus. I mean, I don't think it would be bad to have something like that, but I think it's more focused on protecting your home and
Okay.
property, right? And less about your day-to-day,
Yeah.
Makes
other
sense.
activities. Yeah.
Flooding and erosion focused, mitigating flooding and erosion. Okay, so update from Black Island Coastal Resilience Committee Chair and Co-Chair. A few things. So I mentioned at the last meeting that I'd be meeting with CRC members. I have done so with almost everyone, but there's a couple I haven't yet been able to meet with. So I will do that in the next couple of weeks, but it has been very helpful to hear from people, their ideas about what we can be doing, insights. So thank you for everyone who's taken the time to talk to me. I also had a constructive meeting with the town manager, Amy Land, yesterday. And just a few updates I wanted to share from that meeting, which, we had some sort of pending questions, which I was able to get some answers. just, we'd all heard about the Sunrise Wind Agreement with the town. And I asked about what's happening with the 50,000 per year for 5 years. That was for a climate resilience position. That is still planned. The town's gonna be putting out an RFQ for that soon. Apparently, the comprehensive plan RFQ needs to happen, or that's the priority to have that go out first. But after that, it will be going out. It will be for a consultant. It will be a part-time position, and it will be deliverable based. So it's not going to be, like a town position. So I think thinking about what would be giving some inputs to the town and what would be helpful to have a consultant in that role focus on, at least for the first year. And then again, another question was around the comprehensive plan, and that is apparently going to be put out for bid soon. So we will be hearing more, hopefully, once someone is selected to lead that process. So we also talked about this issue we've run into of often having more than, not often, but occasionally having more than 4 CRC members who are interested in participating in something outside of our regular meeting hours, including, visits from experts, from the contractors that are working on the Corneck Road project, for example. And Amy encouraged us to post these as meetings. So, for example, the January 21st meeting with GZA, if we had posted that, I think is it just 2 days in advance that we need to do that, Laurel? 48 hours. And we just say, this is what we're planning to do. So the public has notice. We can have as many of us there as are interested. So I think I am going to commit to doing that. Please flag for me anything that you see coming up that might be such a thing. I wonder whether the February 11th visit, we have URI hydrologists coming at this point. I don't know if we have more than 4 members interested and available, but
Maybe it's
we
worth
post it-
finding out. So
posting it so that we're safe in case.
we
right?
can do scheduling emails amongst the group. That's okay.
Mhm.
So, it's not like a rolling quorum or anything. If we're just trying to schedule a meeting. So, but I mean, I've just put an agenda together yesterday. I can, share it.
Yeah.
I was going to share it anyway. And then, but if there's more than 4 of us that want to come, all we have to do is announce it. We give the
Right.
agenda to Laurel and she takes care of it. And it's 48 hours, 48 working hours, just because,
Thank
that's
you.
why it's due the week before for our Tuesday meetings.
Right.
Can I get a clarification on
Yeah.
that, please? I was thinking about Lisa, who wanted to serve on the
Mhm.
Corneck Road Committee. Does that include her being able to attend any of the Corneck Road meetings? And if so, would that
Yes.
work group have to announce that meeting or post that
Yes.
meeting each time?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So that's why I mean, well, this next GZA meeting sounds like it will be a public meeting, so that's no problem. But if there were future meetings with the contractor calls and we had more than
Yeah, that I
you know,
know, yeah.
the
Why
4
don't
people
I
interested.
why don't I go ahead and post the 11th, the meeting on the 11th?
Yeah.
That we don't have a room. I mean, the only rooms that are available are the little one behind us here and the vault where we met with GZA and BIA, which is next to the clerk's office. This room several of you will be in here
Training.
for the crowd control training on the same day. But I can go ahead and just announce the meeting and I'll let Nate know because I told him it wasn't going to be announced, that it wasn't going to be a public meeting, but I'll let them know it's a public meeting and we can announce it and then, because
Yeah.
we're the only limitation. We're happy to have the public, or town people join us.
Yep.
To talk about water and wastewater issues and what are they? Yeah, okay. I need to find a space.
So another thing I talked about with Amy was, options for reaching the town council sort of more regularly. So I think we will submit written reports or updates to the town council. She says that they do read them. So I'm going to also commit to doing that more regularly. And that we could request a specific session with the town council if there is a need to do so. So just some things to keep in mind as we move forward. Because again, our job is to advise the town council, so we need to look for opportunities to do that as much as we can. Amy also said she would like to join meetings by Zoom, that Tuesdays are not good. I don't know if she mentioned this to you, Laurel, but for future meetings, she said to send her the link and she would try to join. One thing that she also suggested, which I think is a great idea and will be on the agenda for next month, March 3rd, is to give our input on the capital plan, improvement plan, which includes things like the West Beach revetment work that's going to be happening and New Harbor dredging. So she thinks there are things in there, and it would be good to get into the habit of having a process with us to review and give any input that we see. She did say the West Beach revetment, that's already kind of scoped and everything, but thinking about longer term, what's the impacts that we need to be thinking about, for example, to the, pond area to the north, or the, what are the things the town should be keeping in mind related to those projects. So that will be a new role for us, I think, doing that formally. I think, Judy, you've kind of like instead of trying to figure out which meetings to attend, where to like say something, would be a more structured way for us to do that. So Amy said she would share that in advance of the meeting and join remotely so that she can go through the items with us. You look puzzled, Nigel. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. So my chemistry professor said to me in high school, he thought I was really paying close attention. I was like, I have just no idea what you're talking about, but okay. So we can move to the next agenda items, which is to act on the working groups and points of contact. So this is the handout. This is after our meeting in January, where we made some adjustments to the working groups and the points of contact, and then people signed up. And since then, more people have, some things have shifted in conversations. So this is what we have going forward. It's not set in stone. Things can change during the course of the year. We find the need to, for example, turn one of the points of contact into a working group, or people want to shift, that's fine as well. But so are there any questions about the current composition? I should have mentioned to you, Nigel. Lisa asked for a little more time to kind of get acclimated to this committee, and may choose later to join the working group, but for now she's gonna
Observe.
completely understandable. Yes. I will say, since our meeting in January, so George has agreed to join Nigel as point of contact on water and wells, which is great. Sarah Bacon is going to be on the Community Engagement Public Information Working Group. I'm stepping off of that because I realized I was on too many things. And if anyone wants to join the grants or the town ordinance and planning, again, I think those are things like as we move into the comprehensive plan process, more might be interested to participate, or if there's a grant opportunity that we identify and need some more help on, we can reach out for extra help. But
On the, what was I going to say? Oh, grants support. I secured a promise from Claire Cummings
Oh.
that she would continue to support us on grant writing
Well, that's
and things
great.
like that. So,
Great to hear.
yeah, so if, we want to work within the committee because we all want to contribute, but we aren't out to dry if nobody else wants to work on grants.
Okay, that's great. So, I guess I'd like to make a motion that we, or I would like to ask someone to make a motion that we move forward with, these points of contact and working groups for 2026.
So moved.
Can I get a
Second.
second? All right, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. So these
And
are
for
approved for
change,
now. Again, they're
yeah,
not, I
yeah.
don't even know that we needed to vote on that, but,
And Lisa can join anything she wants, as long as there's not 4 people already on it.
right. And again, we are,
Negotiable.
because we were oversubscribed, I would say, for the Corneck Road. And I know that, those of us not on the committee are interested to be kept, updated again, we will try to post any meetings like that where, or visits so that others can attend and also share updates between meetings. I'm committed to sharing those with everyone. So, but after this this public engagement, that will sort of be the wrapping up that grant, my understanding. And then we move on to the new grant. So.
Just curious, Allison, are you still on?
Yes.
Can you tell us when you anticipate our town will be looking at a new comprehensive plan and how long that process takes?
I'm actually not involved with that, so that would be Amy to ask that, the town. like
Do
what
you
they're-
remember from when you were in charge of that? How
Oh,
long it took?
I thought you meant the timing of the RFP. How long it takes to write a comprehensive plan?
Yeah,
Time?
and
I
have it
would-
approved.
Oh, at least a year.
That's
you
what
know,
I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you're, have a solid, I guess, aggressive timeline for drafting all the elements, and then obviously it takes some time to go through the public hearing process with the planning board and the town council, and then that year timeline wouldn't include state review and approval, which would be another few months.
I was just thinking about that earlier today. If we reverse our thinking and look for a resilience officer of sorts first, that person could have input into that plan regarding sea level rise. And
Right, and
you know
so
what I'm saying?
I'm sure, I mean, if the town's planning on hiring someone, even if that would be, even if it's months down the road, 4 or 5 months down the road, there would still be that draft element to put input, into, and so I think you might have someone on board to inform that element of the comp plan. So timeline might not be too much of a concern in regard to that.
Thanks.
And you have so much planning documents, vulnerability analyses, like your updated hazard mitigation plan, all of that would inform that natural hazards and climate change element of the comprehensive plan. So
Mhm.
I think you'll be in good shape to have a strong component of resiliency within your comp plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think in our, in the ordinance working group, kind of a lot of our review of all the things, a lot of them are in the comprehensive plan. So we just want to make sure that, that the new comprehensive plan includes and strengthens some of what was in the previous, or the current about to end, or if it hasn't already ended, comprehensive plan. So that's why we would want to sort of contribute to the process. Okay, so moving to the next agenda item, which is to act to approve the 2026 Block Island Sea Level Rise, it should be CRC, budget request. So we discussed this a bit at the last meeting. So I'd like to make a motion that we submit a budget request to fund a town coastal resilience officer position. We would provide an email or letter with a justification, a description of what the position could do. So do I have a second?
Second,
And any discussion about that?
I have a question. Would anyone else fund it?
Here.
Oh, sorry. So it's gonna be in the town budget. That's our request.
Mhm.
And the town would pay for that 100%, or would other organizations contribute to that?
yes.
I think the idea.
Whatever we can get, right?
Yes, I'm not sure that we need to solve how it will be funded. I think we need to make the case that this is needed, maybe with I mean, I don't think it's super likely that it'll be fully, a position like this will be funded.
But we
But
have
it's
to
sort of
ask,
laying the groundwork for hopefully.
and are we
down the
thinking
road it
a
will-
full-time or a part-time? I mean, we have to figure all that out
Mhm.
because it's not just what the person gets paid, but all the overheads. I don't even know what they are in the town, but it's usually a lot of money that you're asking for a person.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm confused. I thought you just spoke to the resilience officer as
Mhm.
being grant funded.
So there is the Sunrise Wind Agreement funding for a climate resilience person that hasn't yet been bid out. That's a consultant and it would be part-time. So yes, but I feel like there's still a need for a town official that wouldn't be a town official that would, be responsible for making sure that we're implementing, our municipal resilience plan, coordinating with the state, overseeing any grants, future grants that are won by the town.
So they're
that sort of thing.
mutually exclusive.
Well,
They
that's-
can be.
Or eventually it could sort of turn into the same thing. Like that funding could eventually be used. I don't think this year it's going to be used for a town position, but it could, I think in the future, the town could negotiate that. I don't think there's any restriction. I don't know. I'm speaking out of turn. I haven't been part of those conversations between,
So I
So-
think we ask for what we want.
right, this is
and
what we
get
think
shot
we need.
down like we do every year, but we keep asking and clarifying what we want and trying to show that there's value by, what Nora does and what Glennie did before her and, whatever this consultant does. And if the consultant does it and, becomes part of the sort of town government, whatever, as a consultant, then, then they maybe show their value, show that we qualify for more grant funding, like this living shoreline thing. I don't know what to do with it because it really needs to be a town person, that somebody who has execution capability or, or planning, it was an advisory. So, anyway,
And there, I would say, I think it's fair to say that most towns, coastal towns and islands have a resilience coordinator type of position. I think, and we have seen that, there's often sort of a gap in terms of where does this fall within the town?
The grant money cover that until it gets established and the person proves their worth
Right.
before you start to tap the town.
if there was grant money for that kind of position, which we don't have. So the grant money has been for planning, it's been very specific, we're responding to opportunities.
Sorry.
They aren't things that, if we had the capability to plan it ourselves, it would be more orderly, but we're mostly responding to funding opportunities as they crop up
Okay.
versus doing it in an orderly fashion.
So my question, and pardon my ignorance, is what is the dollar amount we're requesting for this position in the town budget?
I don't know that. I'd have to look at the town budget to see what a similar
Yeah.
level person would be with overhead and benefits, but
All my information is old, but, yeah, and it was from, I just looked at other towns. You know, what other people were earn, I looked at their position descriptions and, you know, whatever I could get off of the web about how, well, how much they were, what their salary range was, and, yeah.
Gotcha. So that's in there. You just can't recall what it was.
I just can't recall
All
what
right,
it is,
gotcha.
yeah.
And could you also clarify Nora's position? That's paid for by the TNC through a grant or a donation,
through their,
right?
their funding.
And how long does that last?
3 years?
3 years?
3 years? Yeah.
So the question for me would be, could any of these two positions that we're talking about continue to support what Nora's doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Get her a full-time job.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
So, or how are we gonna go forward? You want, I mean, I'll dig around and see what I can find for salaries and stuff like that. But I can, I'm happy to work with you, Anne, on that.
Yeah.
Is that the only
I
action that
mean,
we
I
have right
think,
now?
in talking to Amy about this too yesterday, she said really just like a justification and kind of a description to give, you know, to make it clear what this position could be.
I
So
mean,
I'm happy to work on that and circulate it. She needs it by March 1st at the latest, so it will have to be submitted before our next meeting.
so another clarification. So is the role of this hypothetical person completely distinct from what Nora is doing? Or should we in fact be waiting until Nora is getting closer to the end of her contract or whatever to ask for this position?
Well, I see it as a different, I mean, Nora's works for the Nature Conservancy.
Yeah, no, I
So that's
understand.
the main difference is the town, so having someone in the town responsible reporting to the town manager who is the representative of the town who's working on these issues.
But there does seem to be a certain sort of degree of redundancy then. I mean, you know, we don't want to be asking.
I don't see Nora working on grant proposals. I don't see her overlooking the
Yeah,
work
she's
that's
there.
being done. It's very different. I see her more as an educational role.
What does Nora say?
I would say I think there is benefit in having a town employee that can be intrinsic, that actually works for the town, as opposed to my role in the Nature Conservancy. I think I see complementary ways, certainly ways this person, hypothetical person, I could work together, but I certainly see some benefit, and I see it in talking with other resiliency officers that actually work for different towns. And so, yeah, I think there definitely is some overlap for sure, to Nigel's point, and I think there's also some benefit in having a person that actually works at the town of New Shore.
And I did ask Nora to weigh in terms of like, because she does know a lot of these resilience officers, people who've worked for other towns, like what lessons have other towns learned in terms of these positions, what works, what doesn't, you know?
Yeah, so that's something we talked about with Anne this morning, was like
Yeah.
reaching out and thinking about, like, especially towns that I know of that have recently started or had one position maybe that have turned into more than one position. How did that come about? And so
Mhm.
I'll kind of share some of that learnings with
Yeah.
you.
All right, so if we could move to vote on this, are there? Yes.
I think this isn't thought out completely enough for this year's budget. I mean, the budget, it's crunch season now for the budget. I don't know how you could pull this together to
Mhm.
have that inserted as a budget item this year without.
Well, this would not be the first time, I don't think, that we've asked for this, and we've been told no before. So it's more going through the process of making the request that this is something, continually putting it in front of the town, that this is something that we think is needed, with maybe not
Yeah,
a great
and-
deal of expectation that's going to be funded this year, or not in full, but we do also want to push for the Sunrise Wind Agreement funding to be used, since that's available. But, so I think, I I think for me, it's, kind of just continuing to.
But is there a job description and?
We have collected job descriptions from, we've worked on this a little bit in the past. So I think,
Yeah, and
to be honest, I haven't, thought too much about this since I met with Amy yesterday, but so there is more work to do in terms of
and my
putting that all
experience,
together.
my experience on the planning board with budgets, it's always crunch time.
That's right.
There's no calm budget time.
So.
But we
yeah.
do have,
But we have an
another thing is,
opportunity.
and there is also this grant, this will be the second grant. There, is opportunities for additional, so there are things, that the town right now, I think, feels a need to, have.
Yeah, right now,
in
we're
this area.
limited in the town's limited in its bandwidth in terms of its capability to manage more grants, for example. We can't bring in more money. We don't have anybody to execute or, like do the hard work and all the recording and all that stuff. And Allison has been great with what we've gotten so far. But, she's part-time of a part-time and has other responsibilities too, besides us. So, anyway, we're asking for more.
Okay, so with all those caveats, I guess, and with yes.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about
Yep.
this person, trying to compare like a building inspector. That's mean how the building inspector is paid. Is it on the permit? Like how to find a different way to get money to pay this person, the way other department works, building department, planning, all of this. There is
Right.
this because we will need the city and the town will need this person sooner than they think, because the coordination of what's happening in the environment is getting there is more speed. So I'm just thinking about like compared to a building inspector, how the town pay him, and he's somebody who live, but it depends of the town. So just an idea. And is it about the permit, some kind of permit to bring some money? Is it about, I don't know. I'm just opening the discussion on that.
I don't think we're going to propose like a fee or something that's going to fund this. So yeah, where the money would come from, I think is.
Because the impact is on everybody, the business, the homeowner, the contractor, everybody. There is an impact.
Right.
So somebody will need to look at this and be part of the process. I'm talking about the finance.
Yeah, which is a good argument for starting small, in my opinion. Whatever this position turns out to be, should start out small, and it will inform itself as it experiences hurdles and successes and whatnot. And that will inform the town council whether they should increase the position's hours or not.
Yeah.
Start small is my suggestion.
When you say start small, you mean in terms of the percentage of time?
Yeah, not a full-time job immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to propose that we propose a part-time position, not a full-time position?
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Are you talking about like 2 days a week or 1 day a week?
I don't know.
Like the building inspector is 1 day a week.
Well, I think
Is
there
it the
is,
same scale or not? Is it less or more? Like, I don't know.
I think there is a, I don't know exactly how the town works, but over a certain amount of time, you get full benefits, and underneath that you don't. So there is cost saving in that regard as well, whether you could find someone who do the job who's qualified part-time,
But maybe we should vote on that. I mean.
Yes, Kim.
listening for the overview. And just sort of a reminder of the mechanics, right? You're advising to the town council, and it's up to them to sign on to the philosophical need and for the town manager to figure out how it works.
Right.
So if you think that the town would benefit from having a full-time person to do this work, as happens perhaps in other towns, then that's probably what you should recommend. And then it would be up to them to say, no, like last year, we don't have room in the budget, or for them, with the town manager's guidance on the budget process, to say, we can't afford a full-time one now, maybe we can start off others. But from your point of view, you're the advisors, you should be advising, I would think, what you think the ideal situation should be. And so that's, just my old
Leave the
comments.
practical stuff to
Yeah.
the town manager.
That helps a
Town
lot,
council.
Kim. Then
That's a
we
good
can-
point.
they can worry about the mechanics of it.
I agree. I agree with Kim.
Any other discussion on this? Are we ready to vote on whether we want to move forward with making a budget request for I don't know if we should call it coastal resilience, let's call it coastal resilience officer for the town. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. It carries and we
and
will.
while we were doing that, I was looking up salaries, and they range 65, 66 to like 115, depending on experience and all that stuff. And the highest they found, or the CRMC found for a resilience officer was 195.5. So
Okay.
anyway, just FYI, just to give you an idea what we're, Nora's like, yeah, exactly. She's like, how do I get that job? Yeah. Mike Shea's in the corner saying, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
I mean, again, I actually don't think we need to put a dollar figure on it. I think we just need to make the case for
Yeah.
that
Good for us to-
position. Yeah. Not for us to slot what level and all that. We can say what level of, responsibility and qualifications, but, all right, so I'm going to move to the next agenda, which is a big one, which is all the updates from our working groups and points of contact. The first is the I think it should say public education and community engagement working group. Mary's not here today, but she and I have been working with Byra. And Nora's also been part of this in planning the visit of Leah Hill, who again is the Nantucket Coastal Resilience Coordinator. So she's going to be coming on April 24th. There will be an event on April 25th, which I just saw this week is also being proposed as Earth Day. It's a Saturday. So we'll also have Earth Day happening. So we need to figure out that. But I think the Byra event would be sort of late afternoon evening. So following the Earth Day fair. And we are having a call with Leah on Friday to discuss it further. But the idea behind this is for us to talk about, coastal resilience on Block Island and to hear from her about Nantucket's experience, lessons learned from their plan, their resilience framework, which, they've actually had a few years of implementing it. So that is one thing we're working on. And I guess on the Earth Day, I wanted to ask whether anyone from our committee could join the first planning meeting for that, which is on February 12th at 8:30 a.m. I am going to be on a ferry at that point.
So this is Judy, and Judy has done this in the past. I will be happy to be as involved as you guys
Okay.
want me to be. I'm not sure I can be at that first meeting, but I did respond to Mimi that I'd be happy to continue to be involved.
Okay. Who else is on that committee? Sosha, are you interested in going?
But I'm not even on the committee. I'm just willing to do Earth Day.
But to go to the February 12th
Oh, yeah.
meeting in person, are you available?
I don't know.
Next Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Where would this be?
It's at the Harbor Church, in the sunroom at the Harbor Church.
Harbor Church.
8:30 a.m.
All right, well, we will make sure someone is there. Maybe Mary, if
I don't
she'll be back.
know.
Okay. Is there anything else on public education? Grant support. I think we just heard about this new opportunity that,
Yeah, I just sent it out to everybody. So
Yeah.
take a look at it and, you know, is this something that the town should pursue?
town ordinance and planning. Nora, we heard from Nora about the guide, which is really the main thing that group has been working on. I don't think there's, oh, yes, you want to do your,
Last time I mentioned to you all that I would wish I had all the names of all the people who live in the high-risk flood zone zones, and Allison informed us that that information was available. She emailed it to me, and I was I was intrigued because I have a sense that there's a well of information in here that I haven't discovered yet. But to start off with, there are approximately 238 properties on this island that are either in the high-risk flood zone or within 200 feet from a high-risk flood zone. And I was really surprised at such a high number.
So if you look carefully, I looked through this list and a lot of them are on bluffs. So they're within 200 feet, but they're not in risk of being inundated by the ocean. They may slide down to the ocean, but
Right.
yeah, just so you're careful what you're looking at because these are literally, yeah, some of them are up on bluffs. Yeah.
I also sent you, or you received a handout today as to definitions of flood zones because you asked me for those. So you can read that yourself. Flood zones that require flood insurance are the high-risk flood zones, officially called special flood hazard areas by FEMA. These high-risk zones that require flood insurance begin with A or V, blah, blah, blah. You can read this yourself. Allison informed me that she typically creates a mailing list annually for the purposes of credits under the CRS program, and that Charlene mails a letter with information related to flood insurance. Attached that you're looking at is last year's list, which includes, and by the way, I had this list emailed to you rather than printed because it's so lengthy. Let's see, attaches last year's list, which includes parcels that have a structure within a flood zone or 200 feet from a flood zone. And to get the info out to more and cover more area of potential risk, we certainly have other similar lists, maps, data on this topic, and can create a new analysis and output on GIS. Now, my first assignment will have to be to make an appointment with Jen, because, for example, remember, I'm trying to find out if we need to push politely, for zoning variances, relief variances in terms of building height and setbacks. But before I can do that, I need to find out from Jen what zoning regulations already exist that maybe already do this, rather than be foolish and say, and then be told. The other thing is, I want to have enough evidence or supporting evidence that there might be a need for such zoning change. And Allison informed me that some of these, quote, structures are just sheds. So I think we may need to filter out the properties that are 200 feet from the high-risk zone, itself. And from that, I would love to see what kind of buildings, what kind of crucial town buildings are in the high-risk zone. versus the non-high risk, the 200 feet. In other words, there's so much information that can be pulled out of this that I have more, at this point, I have more questions than answers. Let me put it that way. I think
Thank you.
that's it, yeah.
Any questions for Sosha or additional points on that?
I want to add about the flooding is when we did the GIS, we were able to see the projection in 25 years. So and the impact of the renovation of the building is for 40, 50 years. So how we overlap the flooding, the storm surge, everything. So and most of the building are in the historical district when you look on the GIS. So it's also an issue. Who overtake? Is it the flooding or is it the historical society? Like who we have a final say about those buildings? Do you understand? That's why I'm just.
Yeah, that's another question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sosha, for pursuing all that, and look forward to hearing back after you've investigated further with Jen. The next working group is Corn Neck Road. So Judy's going to give a report out on the January 21st visit and next steps with GZA, which we already
Thank you
discussed
so
a
much.
bit.
And Allison, talk to you about the next steps, which are the public outreach. Want to be very clear that any designs that are being projected are just gross concepts. But let me tell you a little bit what we learned. So we brought out architects, GZA brought out architects who actually know all the codes and all the stuff that we don't know. And there are several things, and Nigel, you were there, so, correct me, update me, whatever. But there are, we had talked about one structure or a structure in mobile or all mobile. And one thing we learned was that we can't be all mobile, that no matter what we do, we have to have a structure on the ground because we have people living there. It's considered a bunkhouse. So right now they don't have bathrooms, but if we do anything to the building, we will have to build bathrooms for the bunk rooms, the two bedrooms. They do not, because they're called bunk rooms, need a kitchen. So this is where the lifeguards live in the summer. So that was really interesting. So what if we do whatever the amount of change to the building that triggers, the building inspections and stuff like that, then yeah, we're going to have to put in new bathrooms, and they're going to have to be in a building. They can't be. I don't think they can't be mobile bathrooms.
Unless you stop using it as dorm rooms.
That's what these are. They're dorm rooms.
What I'm saying is if you abandon the use,
Oh.
then
Right, and there's nowhere to put these 4 town employees. We don't even have a place to put the town employees that we have. It's as evidenced by the Block Island Bulletin Board and the number of town employees that are looking for year-round housing or summer
yeah.
housing. Yeah, they don't say that they're town employees, but they are. A lot of these folks that are looking for housing. Anyway, so yeah, so you're correct. If we don't house people there, that takes care of part of, yeah. But I thought that was very interesting, that as long as we are committed to housing there, that we do have requirements for the new building codes. We talked, let's see, how much occupancy, how's it changed? One of the things that we talked about in terms of use of the building was that we all hoped that we were at or near the carrying capacity. We don't want to build more carrying capacity at the beach. We don't want to build more parking so we can have more people there where we feel like we're, close to or at our limit. And all these conversations were had with Keith and Billy in the conversation. Generic concepts. To satisfy the infrastructure bank in what they're funding us to do is we need to have a shovel-ready design. even if we have no action for years, we have to have the design to go. So that's what we're aiming for at. Let's see. Lots of public engagement. We're going to continue to do that. We're already talking about the public engagement for the paths in Scotch Beach at the 60% design. And we'll have another one at 100% design. One of the things that we talked about with the beach house is how we are going to ensure access for handicap. And so there are a couple of different ramp designs. They're talking about building an elevated building just up one story with bike storage underneath, other, you can have breakout walls for equipment storage, things like that. And then have the living quarters and the concession and whatever else we decide to have in the building up a level. If the dunes grow back naturally, the way we anticipate they will, that you will have very easy visibility of the beach from that first deck, from that first floor. That was a big concern of Billy's, was that to make sure that we didn't build a building, then you can't even see the beach. Yeah. And they also talked about several designs for how you get from the building to the beach. And so all of that will be laid out.
Judy, could you talk about the, what we will see in the conceptual designs that they're going to present at this next?
Yes, and I'll probably need a little bit of help with, so one of the, like I said before, no change in the parking lots. We're not expanding them or anything. They were trying to work within that footprint. One of the designs orients the building perpendicular to the current one and is over that big cement pad where we store the bikes and the chairs for the lifeguards in the winter. Yeah. So it's oriented perpendicular to the current building. That'll be one of the designs that they'll show. Another one will maybe have some mobile pieces on the beach that can be brought back. Another design was a total relocation. Because, is its current location, does it make any sense to rebuild where we are? And what are the considerations for moving it up the beach a couple hundred yards? Where there's actually a fatter beach, there's more distance between the road and the dune. Am I missing?
I mean, obviously, an
Here.
advantage of changing location would be that you could build something without demolishing the first one. So you could keep one going while you were getting the next one ready and then do the demolition or whatever afterwards. They talked about how they had a sort of projection for roughly how long it would take a dune to rebuild, which is probably in the sort of, 30 plus or minus 10 years. And so in terms of being able to see the beach, as they pointed out, no one would still be alive at the point when the dune would get high enough that it would obstruct anyone's view anyway. So in a sense, that whole issue was sort of irrelevant. Even Nora, we're not talking here. Right. I'm not, yes, okay. And yes, the other advantage of moving it would be that you could put in a much broader portion of the dunes. It's at the moment in the narrowest portion between the sea and Corneck Road. And it's, so that has the least resiliency of almost anywhere between Beach Avenue and Scotch Beach.
Another thing that we discussed was emergency vehicle access. And it was discussed how the emergency vehicle access around the beach house can't be used during the day because there are so many encampments on the beach side that it's not a reasonable avenue for
That's not
getting
true.
through. That's what they said. That's,
No.
I'm just saying, we're reporting
That's
back.
not, that
Okay.
is not true.
Okay, so that, do they?
You'd be
people can-
surprised how quickly they
people
get
can
out of the
move.
way.
Well, I'm sure if there's an emergency, yeah. But then it was discussed, is it, does it make sense to have it next to the beach house? Or does it make more sense to have it in another location? And there's there's sort of a natural cut in the dune just north of Beach Avenue that we wouldn't have to change any of the elevations to, except for maybe to fill in even a little bit. But that would that satisfy, that was one of, this is all conceptual. We're not saying, which is why what
Right.
you're saying is so important. But does it make sense to have Scotch Beach, mansion, Scotch, and then this one that's not next to the beach house that is, just north of Beach Avenue? So they were also looking at, options around that, around where to put the beach access for emergency vehicles. The other thing they said is it's almost always those gators. It's the small vehicles. It's not like they're trying to get the ambulance or the fire truck out there. So it's not now, I don't know what the fishermen are gonna think if we don't put in a full road, but, they're big enough for their trucks. But anyway, that's all for somebody else to decide.
I mean, the other advantage of the Beach Avenue, the just north of Beach Avenue position, was the natural sort of roadway pathway would be much more resilient to high wave energetics because it would come in at an angle. I mean, the current paths around the beach house are the worst you could possibly have because they're just shortened straight to the beach. So they're much harder to make resilient.
Can
So-
I ask, Jean-Louis
Yeah.
did an analysis
Yeah.
that you shared with us last time. And when I thought about it at home, I had a question. You mentioned how the dunes travel west,
Inland.
right?
Yeah.
Now, is the beach made larger because of that? Or is the beach also accruing sand from the ocean?
I'm not sure about that, but when we look at the GIS about the shoreline,
Turn on your microphone, please.
It is on.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
so when you look at the data of the shoreline goes in direction of the ocean. So the beach is becoming wider. Not a lot, but according to the data,
But is the beach becoming wider because the dunes are migrating west or because the beaches are accruing sand?
my understanding is the sand is building up. The sun is coming and you can see it very quickly. Like I saw that suddenly 3 months ago, there was like a lot of sun coming. After that, the wind pushed the sun and build up the dune. But it's two different motion. One is goes to the ocean, the other one
Well,
goes
that's
down.
what I wanted to know.
Right.
Well,
And,
no,
and
I-
what I want to add is the meeting was very interesting with the GSA because we have been working the last few months about the parking. And it was the first time everybody zoom out, if you want. And we look at the issue of why you want to have the dune coming back and move the building is to protect the road. The main goal is to protect the road, so the island is not two islands.
Right.
That's the most important part for me. And it was the first time really everybody they described this. So the building could be whatever the shape, whatever the design, but the main goal of this move is to bring the dune to protect the road, so the island is not two islands. That's the main narrative.
Oh. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up again was from my perspective, that the parking lot needs to remain a parking lot because of the infrastructure underneath, so that we cannot allow the dunes to travel west over that parking lot. Is that correct?
Yeah, so he's trying, so there's a general, here, you were gonna say this, right? There's a general movement, but it's,
Confused now.
yeah, in the geological processes,
It's moving west.
it's moving west because
Beach is
we,
moving west, the dunes are. moving
yes, but it's very slow. Oh, yes, and that's a very slow geological process. And as,
Brian?
who, former town councilor who spoke to us, who just sold her property?
Somebody.
Martha Ball. As Martha Ball says, those dunes haven't moved in the 60 years she's been watching them. So, yeah, I don't think I mean, they're getting fatter since with our profiling of them, they're getting fatter on the roadside.
Yeah.
And they're changing, but they're not, it's not like it's not like you have to worry about it in your lifetime or Nora's lifetime, that they're going to move over the beach.
I mean, you could say that actually the dunes,
I mean,
since Sandy, the dunes have been moving east because they've been refilling. Okay, so, but the westward motion, yes, exactly. The westward motion is extremely slow, but you can see, even, I mean, the last storms, you can see the amount of sand that came up over the dune has dumped itself on the west side of the dune, and that is going to be there not forever, but certainly for way beyond our life. That is where that is part of what the dunes moving west is. It's the slow dropping of sand that comes up and over.
I mean, I remember seeing those pictures.
I mean, there's huge, yeah, well, Renee had these, Renee? No, she's asleep. No. Yeah, showed some nice pictures. On the west side.
I have one question that actually Lisa mentioned to me. I know there's the leach fields on the north and south of is it all septic or is there's town water for? It's not on the town sewer, but town water for, okay. Okay, no well, I mean,
Yes.
got it. Okay.
One to the south, rainwater shower. Okay.
Don't forget there's big, huge electric cables.
yeah, that was, the infrastructure that Sosha was referring to, that we need to make sure that we always have access to that. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need to keep that in mind.
But there's no reason I could think of why that couldn't be built up some. I mean, I don't think we necessarily need to keep it down at the ground level that it is. I would say we should encourage some filling in there. Sure, whatever. I mean, I think that's something that all needs to be part of an overall plan.
So
I mean-
the conceptual designs that will be shared by this team, GZA hired within the next month are these few options for the beach pavilion, and then that's what they're done with their work. And then the next grant will potentially fund, if hopefully, whatever design is sort of selected by the town to put into already.
There are also implementation dollars in this first grant,
Not for the beach pavilion.
not for the beach
Yeah.
pavilion, but for the paths in
Right,
Scott
right.
Beach. Yeah.
Right, so the 200,000 that would remain for the implementation of Scotch and the dune paths, but for the beach pavilion, the conceptual design is where it ends, I guess, after maybe some tweaks based on the feedback from the public. And then the next grant will pick up that to carry to full design. Implementation of anything would be, future funding would need to be secured for that. And it might be something that the town decides we just want to have a plan in place for this shovel-ready plan, or maybe decides to move forward with actually implementing it. So I just wanted to kind of lay that all out. Is there anything else from the January 21st visit that hasn't been discussed, or questions anyone has that wasn't? part of it?
I just unfortunately have been have an email in front of me, and I just received an announcement from White House's office that the Rhode Island Energy, Environment and Oceans Leaders Day is April 8th. And there'll be more information coming out, but I'll share that with you guys. It's going to be an in-person event, probably on the mainland, looking at our mainland representative over there. As I get more information, I'll let you know. But Sam Waterston and Ted Danson are supposed to be here.
Star power.
John Kerry, yeah. Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Yeah. Anyway, so
Okay. So I'm
FYI.
realizing we're running out of time. So we're not going to get to the 0.7, but for water and wells, there is an upcoming visit. Do you want to?
Yes, please mark your calendar. It's
February.
February 11th. It's, they're coming in on the first ferry, so they arrive at 8:30 and they'll be going off on the 2 o'clock ferry. And I'm still looking for a room. So I'll, maybe we'll meet up at Ellen's or someplace, just need a place where we can have 8-10 people. And the little conference rooms are a little bit small for that here at the town hall. So, we'll figure it out. Yeah, maybe something like
Oh.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but, they're looking for resources. They're the library, yeah. Yeah,
Library, yeah.
okay.
I mean, my sense is that they're looking for a research project on the island, and we are looking to give them some interesting research questions that we would like investigated. Things like the dynamics of the aquifer. How does it respond to island precipitation? Is it going to be affected if we have long droughts? Things like that. Salination of coastal areas, all of this sort of stuff. And there are wells, I think research wells that they could use, or they could use our wells for
So,
research
so
processes.
there's 3 people coming. Nate Vinatiero, who you've all met before. Tom Boving, who you've all met before. He was, most of us have met before. And then Chris Russiniello. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about what they do. Tom's going to talk about what he's done on Block Island in the past, sort of where that's going now, and then what his interests are in the future. And this is part of our ongoing campaign to get research interest out here. And what I want to be really clear about is that while these are water guys and water and wastewater guys that are coming out now, as questions come up, some of them can be economic, sociological, and there are people at the Coastal Institutes who are experts in these aspects. It's not all physical sciences. So we're casting a pretty wide net trying to get interest in people coming here to do their research, so that we can have the background to answer the questions that we have to answer.
And I think they're going to be meeting with John Brunig
Yeah.
and Dylan Chase as well. And my understanding is this is a potential focus for the Coastal Institute's demonstration site, right? Like we haven't, well, Block Island is definitely a demonstration site, but what they end up doing, this is a potential area of research. They would need to secure funding if they decide to pursue research here, but it's tied into the Coastal Institute's demonstration.
I would encourage anyone who has any specific sort of questions or ideas to let one or other of those of us who will be there, or to come along and attend. But if you can't attend, let us know what ideas or questions you might have, and we can put them to the group.
I will announce it as a public meeting, so anybody can come who wants. I'll send the invitation out to all of y'all. And
One thing I learned on the call with them was that there are some wells where there are monitors and the water level monitors in some wells on Block Island that they can read. They get the digital readings online. So I didn't know that before that. So they had some data. So we have come to the end. Essentially, I think Is there anything on the GIS site? We have it, I think, since the last meeting that was added to the Town of New Shorehams website, which is great.
Yeah. So
And
now it's like, Nigel, I don't know if you look at the water table in the GIS. I don't know if it's gonna be useful, useless, all the map we did of the water table, specifically when we have people coming, looking at the wells, so maybe.
that we
Did
should-
did you look?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen the data. I think the issue in my mind, and maybe this is already known, but the issue in my mind is the dynamics. A snapshot is only so useful, and if we don't understand the dynamics of it, it's really only a little bit useful.
Of course, yeah.
We need to know to what extent it responds to being drawn upon. Is it going up and down seasonally? Is it going up and down with precipitation? All of that sort of stuff. Okay, and I don't think we know the answers to that yet. Maybe we do, but I certainly don't.
A study was 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think
It came out in the early 2000s in that report of the natural history of Rhode Island. They did a study on Block Island. Ann Verstig, or I forgot her name, sorry. Ann V. did the study. Thank you.
And I believe that's the data we map, so at least we can have a digital copy of it. It was only on paper. before.
Okay. So, time management was not forte here, so we did not get to the work session on priority actions. I was just going to sort of walk people through kind of how we've come up with our priorities thus far and ask people to kind of brainstorm around what they think we should be doing differently in the coming year. What are some like top 3 things you want to see done? But instead, I'm going to ask the working groups to do that. So between now and the next meeting, think about your working group and not just alone, but these working groups need to work together. What are the sort of priority actions for the next year? And one thing, one of the handouts was last year's priorities organized by the 3 objectives of our committee, and then with different working groups assigned to the different priority actions. And I went through, and in the column on the right, I updated are these still, have we finished with those actions? Are they ongoing, or are they still to be done? And we're doing pretty well, actually. Most of them are ongoing, but this is, I think, a good reference also for the working groups as you think about what you want to work on in the coming year. So I think if people can kind of do this on their own, review and think, and at the next meeting, report out with working groups, what are kind of the main things everyone wants to focus on going forward. All right, so I am going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you all.